Hello and welcome to Cultural Apologists React for today, October 2nd, 2024. This is an AI-generated podcast based directly on the writings of the Christian cultural apologists discussed. But like all AI, it can make mistakes. In the news today, this article discusses the limitations and nuances of current text-to-image generative AI, Gen AI tools, specifically DALL-E 2. The author highlights several examples where the model struggles with context clues, sequencing, and linguistic ambiguity, leading to humorous and sometimes confusing images. The concept of semantic leakage is introduced, referring to the way these models inherit and pictorialize language's nuances and ambiguities, such as heteronyms, words with multiple meanings, and homonyms, words that sound alike but have different meanings. This can result in images that are not necessarily errors, but rather a reflection of the complexities of human language. The article also touches on the idea that these algorithmic images are teaching us to see, say, and do things in new ways. With billions of images generated daily by Gen AI tools, it's becoming increasingly likely that any image we encounter might be artificially created. The author suggests that what differentiates these images is not their lack of humanity, but rather their abundance of human intelligence, historical context, and linguistic tics. The article concludes by framing the use of Gen AI as a collaborative, multi-sensory game where all users, whether artists, academics, or individuals, will have to learn to play. This implies that the boundaries between creators and consumers are blurring and will need to adapt to this new landscape. Key points from the article. 1. Current Gen AI tools struggle with context clues, sequencing, and linguistic ambiguity. 2. The concept of semantic leakage highlights how these models inherit and pictorialize language's nuances and ambiguities. 3. Algorithmic images can be seen as teaching us to see, say, and do things in new ways. 4. With billions of images generated daily by Gen AI tools, it's likely that many images we encounter will be artificially created. 5. The use of Gen AI is framed as a collaborative, multi-sensory game where all users need to learn to play. The article suggests that the limitations and nuances of current Gen AI tools should not be seen as proof of their clumsiness, but rather as an opportunity for humans to engage with these technologies in new ways. Commentary. The technological mirage, a kaleidoscope of our own complexity. In an era where technology has become the ultimate trump card, we've grown accustomed to its promises of efficiency and progress. But what happens when our reliance on tech leads us down a winding path, masking the very complexities it's supposed to solve? Jacques Ellul's seminal work, The Technological Bluff, warns us that the most profound effect of technique is not so much its direct influence on human behavior as it is the way it modifies our perception of what is real. And nowhere is this more evident than in the limitations and nuances of current text-to-image generative AI, Gen AI tools. The recent proliferation of Gen AI models, such as DALL-E 2, has given us a glimpse into the intricacies of human language and its pictorialization by machines. These algorithmic images are not merely errors or glitches, but rather a reflection of the complexities of our own language, which is prone to nuances like heteronyms, words with multiple meanings, and homonyms, words that sound alike but have different meanings. This phenomenon has been aptly described as semantic leakage, where these models inherit and pictorialize language's ambiguities, leading to images that are not necessarily wrong, but rather a testament to the intricacies of human communication. As we engage with Gen AI tools on a daily basis, it becomes increasingly clear that they're teaching us to see, say, and do things in new ways. The boundaries between creators and consumers are blurring, and we're no longer able to distinguish between what's really important and what's merely accessory, a problem Ellul cautions us about in The Technological Bluff. We forget that there are problems which cannot be solved by technology alone, and it's precisely this oversight that has led us down the detour of semantic leakage. But here's the rub. These algorithmic images are not necessarily errors, but rather a reflection of our own human intelligence, historical context, and linguistic tics. They're a reminder that language is inherently complex and multifaceted, and that any attempt to reduce it to simple binary choices or algorithmic rules is doomed to fail. As Ellul astutely observes, the more complex and sophisticated the technique becomes, the more it tends to mask its own complexity. A phenomenon we see playing out in the very limitations of Gen AI tools. So what does this mean for us? It means that the use of Gen AI is not just a technological innovation, but a collaborative, multi-sensory game where all users, whether artists, academics, or individuals, will have to learn to play. We'll need to adapt to this new landscape where the boundaries between creators and consumers are increasingly blurred. And it's precisely in this ambiguity that we find an opportunity for growth, one that requires us to engage with technology on its own terms while still acknowledging its limitations. In short, the technological bluff is not a problem to be solved, but a reflection of our own complexity. A reminder that language, like life itself, is inherently messy and multifaceted. It's up to us to navigate this new landscape, embracing the nuances and ambiguities that come with it, rather than trying to reduce them to simple binary choices or algorithmic rules. As we do so, we'll find ourselves on a path of discovery, one that leads us back to the very complexities we thought technology could solve. But ultimately, it's in these complexities that we'll discover our true human potential. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Cultural Apologists React. Be sure to come back tomorrow for a new take on the day's news from the standpoint of Christian cultural apologetics.